This podcast is a production of Unfiltered Studios. If you would like to know more about joining Unfiltered Studios, please visit our website at unfpod.com for more information.
Welcome to London.
We're heading into District 1. Although District 1 is completely safe, outside the security zone, London remains a wasteland. There are a large number of bodies still left to be cleared from the original outbreak of infection.
We're nearly home. How old are you, Andy?
12. I think that makes you the youngest person in the entire country.
Welcome back.
And we wish you luck in your new lives.
Oh, I missed you so much.
This is what it's all about, gentlemen. Family starting again.
You like it?
It's amazing.
Are you going to tell us what happened to Mum?
The last infected human died 6 months ago.
We weren't here 6 months ago.
Have you come into direct contact with the infected?
Execute Code Red.
It's probably nothing.
We've lost control. Kill everyone.
Be my shadow, that's it.
We mixed, we loaded it, we edited.
Sometimes we get so deep into conversation that we have separate segments worthy of their own place in the sun.
Here is a reshuffled mini episode.
Alrighty. So it's that time of year. That's right. They're making more zombie movies. And lo and behold, they decided to revisit 28 Days Later. So before those third and potentially fourth movies, whatever the hell Hollywood Reporter is reporting these days, this comes out, I decided to take a mini look back. Podcast guest Jeff Burr was on that day and we kept talking. So before you hear more of this, I'm just giving a little intro. So it is exactly what it is on paper. 28 Days Later was pretty inspiring, and I think it unfortunately got caught in that shuffle. Like, people were still acknowledging post 2002. People in the States and other countries didn't get the movie until 2003. But yeah, I had heard all about it. I knew it was a must-see. It was intelligent. It was intelligent creepy, for lack of a better word. And it was at that point, before people started doing comedies like Shaun of the Dead, you didn't see as many zombies. You might see every once in a while a supernatural episode or what have you. Or, again, campy stuff like Evil Dead, which was just an effects showcase at the end of the day, and just a great one at that. But yeah, George Romero was still the king, and it was a shame that not everyone followed him as much the minute he stopped doing zombie movies, as he's just an incredible legend and knows how to insert emotion with social commentary. But yeah, 28 Days Later. So I liked it okay at the time when I first saw it, but much like many of these so-called great films of all time, on objective lenses, when re-evaluating it, when people started noticing, hey, it's not 100% in the ending department, I started looking at Alex Garland's other movies and continually being disappointed by what great momentum they had in the plot and just never delivering on what it promised, and much like M. Night Shyamalan, he is fucking terrible with endings. So 28 Days Later kind of falls under that same niche. My main issue with Danny Boyle is I've never felt like he's lived up to his movies. I understand that there's a lot of Train Spotting love, but Slumdog Millionaire and 127 Hours and all these other Oscar bait movies have been just a chore to get through. 28 Days Later is probably his last most agreeable movie, but the main issue is, despite the wonderfully done, like, bleak look at how this affects at London, and unfortunately this movie got overshadowed by, Resident Evil being adapted into a movie, the video game saga, and both this and 28 Days basically introduced the whole Rage zombie saga. Now, obviously, it's lived on. People have made fun of it on cartoons and other video games. Just people's eyes turn red and they seem to still have their wits about them while saying, get away, I'm about to become, flesh-eating creature. My main issue is all the military shitheads don't, I'm okay with them being the bad guys. I have no problem with, that's not an uncommon Romero trope, but they had no character to them at all. Like, and Christopher Eccleston especially was just evil for no reason at all. And I was just like, okay, that really killed the movie. All the endings just aren't much better than the other one. Like, they just make you wonder, okay, how did we get this far? Brendan Gleeson really carries the movie for the most part as the taxi driver saving the heroes at the, start of the movie. But literally once he dies, the movie becomes just very disinterested. I think it really only stays alive because, much like many horror movies, the music composer John Murphy just enhances it so well. He's worked for Michael Mann, Matthew Vaughn, Stephen Frears, and even James Gunn, and that is a great score. But this was definitely one of the first movies I saw Naomi Harris in outside of James Bond and Mandela and even the Pirates of the Caribbean films. And I like how she's been given more awesome and intelligent TV miniseries roles. Cillian, obviously, enough said. People had been following him since the dark comedy Intermission, as well as playing the transgender Irish woman on Breakfast on Pluto. Now that Oppenheimer, another movie I did not care for because it stated so much of the obvious for 3 hours, has taken off, and Peaky Blinders is getting a movie. He's returning to the franchise. So I'm not excited about it because Nia DaCosta is attached, and she's another work for hire, director who doesn't seem to have much vision or anything interesting going on. I will keep my opinion reserved, but more likely than not, if I don't like the premise of something, I literally do not like the movie. I don't let an actor typically wreck a movie for me, but in this case, I am mistaken because Aaron Taylor Johnson is attached to these new movies. And I think that's the issue. He's been just kind of a douche in interviews. I generally don't care. I think the difference here is he's just been very lackluster lately as an actor, just in movies like Kick-Ass and Bullet Train and Nowhere Boy and even Nocturnal Animals, and I just don't get the hype. Like, he appears in an absolute nothing role in even stuff like The Illusionist and the 2014 Godzilla, where he's supposed to technically carry the movie. Even he was okay in Savages, but he basically just had to play himself. It was like, just play a douche, play a douchey Marine, be fit. And I think that's just it. Like, people are following him just because he's fit, but not necessarily because he can carry a movie. Like, he has a brief part in Tenet that makes zero difference to the rest of the movie. And yeah, 28 years later, I'm not sure about it. I think, much like many of these franchises, it's been way too long. But whatever. I've been wrong before. I still think, as the rest of our conversation showed, 28 Weeks Later is the better of these two movies because it makes good on the premise. And it's a shame that the cast didn't get much more hype for it. You had Jeremy Renner and Harold Perrineau as douchey Marines who are basically UN peacekeepers, and they're the unexpected heroes. And everyone, unfortunately, mainly just remembers all the bloodshed, all the zombies getting chopped up by a helicopter antenna. But I like how it just shows how the government doesn't want to take responsibility for this. And so there are no heroes. And every other person's loved ones are trying to kill them. And it introduced me to Imogen Poots, who really is a strong actress, who needs way better movies on her resume. And Robert Carl was such an asshole. Like, he's been a bad guy before, but I never seen him as, a cowardly father who can't save his wife from being killed by zombies, and who then decides, you know what, I'm gonna kill you just to ensure that the government can't do any experiments on you. So it was interesting just seeing a smart zombie for once, but then he's wanting to kill his kids and everything, and just like, God. So it was imperfect, but it ultimately had a lot of heart for a genre piece, and it mixed visual very well with terror and action. And yeah, I mean, I don't know why this franchise has taken so long to act upon. They literally should have done a third one the minute the second one came out. But I digress. We will see. Enjoy the rest of the episode. Show me the money. Yeah. Also,
No.
In the blink of an eye, the world he knew was gone. See the only movie this summer that's a stunningly scary hit, striking and original.
Infected! Infected with what?
A genre-busting vision.
Use the blood. There's something in the blood.
And it's scary as hell.
Hate to hear that. You know what?
28 Days Later. Rated R. Starts Friday, June 27th.
No, for me, I love delving straight into these kinds of things. And for me, I love
that's good, dude, because
these kinds of questions.
Aren't
where
we
does
all
it
sick
go?
of seeing people complain, say, "Oh, they're politicizing my movies"? I'm like, you politicized it. It was already political. I mean, I am seeing some of that with Star Trek, and it's like, well, did you think it was just a stupid, space opera show? Don't get me wrong, it's stupid some of the time, but for the most part, it's known for being a progressive, adventure show with some commentary, and same thing with George Romero. I see people who think, oh, he did an awesome zombie movie. I'm like, it's more than a zombie movie.
Oh yeah.
It's a dystopia. I mean, you take the main part of Dawn of the Dead away, like, it's basically a Serpico movie with some sort of Star Wars spectacle, but people love it because of all the other hard truths it asks. What would you do if someone was trying to get an abortion in the future? What would you do if, members of your team were morally compromised? It's just, what would you do if the best possible place to avoid society, and society still comes a knocking eventually? It's just great questions to ask. And compared to other movies which seem to want to just have a gotcha ending that just pisses you off and makes you go, waste of my time.
But really? It?
Yeah, I'm tired of every movie trying to be, I gotta one up M. Night or Chris Nolan or even Jordan Peele, and it's like, let them do them, you do you.
Okay, so let's get onto that. What are some of your hated, you gotta be kidding me endings, and what are your favorite, oh my god, that was beautiful endings?
Okay, so I'll go to the best, the pretty. I'll go with Frailty and Session 9.
Which one?
Frailty.
Oh, Frailty. Okay.
Bill Paxton starring and directed. Like, I feel like that's a serial killer movie that pays off. It's freaky, it's creepy, it's thrilling. Identity, but don't get me wrong, I see other people hate that one. Session 9. I think those all stand out because they're similar to other movies.
I actually did like Identity. I did enjoy it.
Right.
For the time and the place when it came out, I did enjoy it.
All right. Session 9 was one of Brad Anderson's first.
I don't know whether I came in at the wrong time, or I wasn't watching it all the way through, or I was watching it all the way through, or just it's like, is this the ending?
Oh, good. I think that one is more of a slow burn, so that's why it doesn't really, it's over before you know it, and then it's like, whoa. And it, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of reprehensible characters in it, so there's no one really to root for. So that's probably why that one would be divisive. Bad ones.
Well, I guess I kept expecting something weirder to happen. And
no, that's fine. It is a very weird ass movie, especially with some of the other unethical workers who are playing pranks on each other. If you want to go bad, I'd probably go with Tenet or 28 Days Later. Like, just an ending that just makes you go, that doesn't belong with the rest of the movie. But
are you talking about the happy theatrical ending or the original ending?
From what I recall, it seemed like both endings were kind of manipulative.
Okay, cool. So I wasn't the only one who was like, I don't like the ending. This is
I like the sequel. That's a different story.
Wow. Okay, so I'm not alone on this one. I actually enjoyed the sequel too. It's been a while since I've watched the first one. I need to go back and watch it.
That look on Idris Elba's face when he's like, "You said what? We gotta bomb the city? I disagree with that. I gotta save these people." They're like, "You have your orders." He just looks like, "Christ, there's no place for me in heaven." Like, he just has that look. I'm about to carry out the devil's dominoes here. And you need that. I think so. Oh, okay. So I took a great screenwriting class. I met a guy, the guy teaching it, his name was Carl Smith, no relation. And he had been like an assistant to Richard Linklater and everything. And he was so good at just reminding us, hey, have there be conflict, have there be a reason. If you want to, even if you don't reveal every true intent, if you want to do a David Lynch, and have it be very ambiguous, you at the end of the day still know what happened. Don't pull a Sopranos on us where you're just there to kind of anger everybody and be like, fuck you, thanks for watching. It's like, but have fun, but also just have your character evolve. They don't have to be likable. And I liked his other rules that he added because they were just to help us. They weren't because he had an ego and he's like, you got to kiss my ass. He was like, no guns, no poop, and go. I was like, awesome. I like this challenge. I would never put poop in a script, but I like how anyone who's doing a comedy has to think harder. No poop. Makes your movie stink less. And guns was fun because then he would give us these typed outlines and we would have to figure out how we wanted to begin and end it after the premise he had assigned us. And there was one time he gave us a violent heist hostage taking movie premise, and someone he said no guns, and someone decided to come up with a very clever twist that involved a knife. I'm like, I see what you did there. No one used a gun, but he used a knife. That was a good workaround. So I feel like kudos to all these movies because the premise was what sold us on it. It wasn't just who's in it, although that could arguably be a part of it post DVD world. But it was just interesting how we kind of came in expecting a Twilight Zone kind of premise. And like you say, I do like the Dante's Inferno comparison. That I think that's accurate. Just some kind of, damned situation where everyone is trapped, So there's so many subgenres in these movies. We like the premise. We like it's literally an actual living Rubik's cube, and and it even reminds us when we play a board game and we make one wrong move and we are out of the game. It's more interactive than an actual video game movie. But I do find it funny how Resident Evil ripped off the original back in the day. But can you imagine filming these movies on film back when you had to count every single frame? You had to keep delaying and asking for money. You had to decide, are you going straight to Blockbuster shelves? Are you premiering on one of the movie channels with a producer who happens to be programming some stuff? And it's like they were all able to get all of these to premiere at festivals in Germany, Canada, and internationally. So bless them, man. Bless them.
God, you're making me feel wistful over here.
Well, I just like to tip my hat, dude. I couldn't do this. Even if we could, like, they had to think outside the box. Like, even when these sequels came out, they're still, again, part 2 is kind of trying to be a bit like The Matrix and Usual Suspects, and part 3 is definitely trying to be like Saw. But even then, they're still paying tribute to the original movie, regardless of the extra marketing that's been incorporated.
Mm-hmm.
So bless them on that, because just like I tuned out of action movies when they were trying to all be like Fast and the Furious. I was like, I'd prefer more Die Hard or Alien type mayhem. And horror movies, unfortunately, kind of had a lot of, we got to rip off I Know What You Did Last Summer, or Scream, or just rip off the rip-offs of the good movies.
And yet some of those have become considered gems of their own,
which is wild. Yeah. And kudos to
it was up until they started to become PG-13 when everybody really checked out.
Right. Every other movie was trying to be like Rosemary's Baby or Sixth Sense, and you're like, what the hell?
Well, it was when The Ring hit. You had The Ring,
yes,
and then The Grudge, and then every other movie had to be a remake of a Japanese or Korean horror film.
Oh, same thing, dude.
And
like
almost always something horribly lost in translation.
Always they would hire a Danish or German producer for free. And basically, they thought their career would take off, and without fail, they would always like take the movie away from them or misadvertise it. And you're like, what the hell? And then followed by, again, a bad ending, which always felt like, like my sister and I will be tempted to walk out of a movie if we see there's like 5 writers attached.
Oh yeah,
because it just means there's way too many cooks. Like, you might enjoy it, but that ending is going to be a little predictable or just feel off by a bit, even if it's good. Without fail,
So for me, one of the worst endings for me that I've ever had, and this is I'm gonna say a name that is maybe going to delight you, anger you. I don't care. Mike Flanagan, I hate everything he has ever done that I have ever seen, most particularly Oculus.
I plead the fifth. I did see that in theaters, but to be fair, it is a divisive ending. And dude, I'm not the kind of guy who does the whole, you can't like or hate that. I'm like, no, it's your gut. It unsettled you. It pissed you off. So yeah, no, I understand.
I'm going to back up distinctly with my thoughts why I hated that ending, and for the most part that movie, because
it's slow. I get it.
No. The movie could have been great if that ending had not have been there, if anything else, because everything leading up to that ending was actually pretty entertaining. It started to have a good, just creepy, draining vibe. Like, okay, please, as long as you don't do what you projected, like 10 minutes ago, 20 minutes ago, 30 minutes ago, 40. How close are we to the ending? Oh my God, please do not do that ending. Do not do that ending. This is getting kind of creepy. Do not do that ending. Oh my God, he's going to the computer. Oh my God. Don't.
It really creeped me out with the Foley, but I understand.
Literally, the mirror taunted you. The mirror taunted you, telling you, don't do it. Don't do it. You know not to do it. Oh
No,
my fucking God, you did it.
It's all good. I guess I just like his characters in his movies, but I do understand some of his stuff is very long, and if it's not getting your attention, it's not going to take off for you. But I get it. I still need to catch up on his newer stuff, but I see a lot of people don't really care for those ones. What was the one? Midnight Mass, I think, was my favorite, but I understand that that one also has a lot of.
I haven't seen that one. I can't comment.
Dr. Sleep, were you into that or nay?
Oh yeah, Dr. Sleep. I had it wasn't that long ago. I had listened to the audiobook while driving to work, and I'd rather enjoyed it. It was a surprisingly cohesive sequel to the original novel.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, okay, it's not bad. All right. But then here's this movie, and I'm like, okay, so how exactly are you gonna do some of these things? Because I mean, it's a Stephen King book.
Mm-hmm.
You have to wonder that sometimes.
Yeah,
a lot. I mean,
oh, there's another perfect. There's another illustration of a guy who, well, we sometimes agree with what he says, and there are times we're like, dude, you're too close to it. We like it. We think it's true to your thing, even though you don't care for it. Or, I mean, Michael Crichton was the king of that back in the 90s. You'd hear about these movies, you'd see them and be like, it was fine. Or it's good, but it's not like the book. Or Apples and Oranges. That I like both the book and I like the movie in its own right, but Crichton hated it because of how he was included or not included. And you're like, good grief, dude. You just sound like a dick behind the scenes.
But he apparently enjoyed this movie.
Mm-hmm.
But there were so many times when I'm like, wait, why are you doing that? Wait, if you did this part would have been so much more interesting and creepy. Wait, why are you doing this? Wait, this is just weird.
Fair enough.
Okay, now I'm just. And now this movie almost feels kind of. Okay, if they're not gonna be niece and uncle, I don't know what to say. If they're just two people who connected and now this is your ending.
So you would say maybe he needs to be put on a leash a bit, or
yes. There are. He can almost have a good idea, but they do not come together for me. Hush is another one. It became too obvious to
are there ever movies that you watch and you're like,
Hush.
I hate the ending, but I otherwise enjoyed the movie up until that, where you're like, 2/3 of a good movie? Have you ever been that way where you're like, I'm still giving this movie like 3 out of 5 stars. It's just, I didn't care for those last 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have seen some bashing of some of these Cube movies, but usually it seems like they didn't enjoy the entire movie, or they're not into morality tales. They just wanted like a slasher where people are dying and for no reason or some shit. I'm like, well, I can enjoy a slasher, but ultimately I kind of want to know why everyone's being killed. You know, doesn't, I mean, but I can watch a mindless movie too. I don't know. I feel like there was enough promoted just from that bleak looking poster to know that I'm expecting a survival movie, and what I got could easily, I think, work as both a book or even a TV show. People are trapped, you know, and it's all a giant corporation guinea pig experiment, and I don't feel cheated by not seeing everything that's on the outside. You know, that's so much left to my imagination, but in a good way, as opposed to that's all we could afford, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'll see people bitch about certain budgets. I'm like, well, if you didn't know how much it was, would you still like it or hate it? I don't know.
Well, that's the thing for me is I love finding those perfect gems, those truly low budget films that practically micro budget that are just like, wow, this is actually amazing. There's this film, I actually have it called oh, it's on the tip of my tongue. Ink. Yeah, it's
2009. 2009.
2009. Yeah.
Wow. Mysterious creature steals a kid's soul and hopes of using it as a bargaining chip to join the Incubi, a group of supernatural beings responsible for creating nightmares. I like this. You have me sold already, dude.
So this film is incredibly surreal, but it's low budget. You'll see the budget on its sleeve the second the movie starts. However, the story is so captivating, and it is far more fantasy than horror. But
that's a good movie.
It uses its environments well. And that's what it does best. That it whoever did the lighting and the cinematography on it did an exceptionally well job. The actors just blew it out of the park.
I love that. I love hearing about that. I apparently have had this on my watch list, so I think it did get recommended on a few sites, but glad to see someone who's actually seen it.
Yeah, it used to be on Netflix years and years back when Netflix used to be a hellscape of goodness.
Right, before it was, let's film something cheap in New Orleans or Atlanta.
Yeah, there was another movie that was on Netflix at the time that I'd kind of put in the same camp that you should look up called Low, and that's L-O.
That's lovely, dude.
We'll return after these messages.
Do you ever find yourself thinking about who would win in a fight between Goku and Superman? Hi, I'm James Gavsey, and on the Who Would Win show, me and my co-host Ray ignore anything important happening in the outside world and debate fictional battles between characters from comics, movies, and video games.
We got a new show every week, and almost always am I the winner.
Yeah, not true, Ray.
In the past, we've discussed such matches as Captain America versus Darth Vader, Solid Snake versus the Iron Giant, classic matchups like RoboCop versus Terminator, and even the Muppets versus Sesame Street.
That one was crazy. So if you're a fan of geek culture and love a spirited debate, check out the Who Would Win Show wherever you get your podcasts, or check us out at whowouldwinshow.com.
Cool thing about Blind Knowledge is we are in multiple countries. We are worldwide all across the globe. We are in the US, we are in the UK, we are in Canada, Germany, India, Japan. We're in Australia, y'all. BlindKnowledge.com. Now back to the feature presentation.
Follow us on the web on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. The podcast is available on Podbean, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Anchor, Apple, and anywhere else podcasts are available. Feel free to review our show and leave comments on any of those sites. Thanks a million for listening.
It's a Jack